93. This is Amon Ashrenew from ashrenew.com. You already know. All right, let's keep it going. Another video. All right, let's change the pace up a little bit. Now I want to talk about demons, devils, and jinn are not what you think they are. Listen up. So as somebody who has been working with the so-called left-hand path, the so-called dark side, for quite some time now, the evidence is there, right? I have come to the understanding, 93x24, 93, 93, 93. What's up, Yon Shiva? What's up, what's up, what's up? I appreciate everybody. Salute to everybody. You already know. It's just like I try to be serious and shit, but y'all give me good energy. That's why I be smiling. It's like, it's like I can feel the energy, and it's a good energy, So that's why I be smiling. I always appreciate everybody tuning in. So that's like, so if you catch me smiling, that's what it is. It's appreciation. It's a genuine love, and I appreciate it. I respect it. The reason why, what's up 305 Capricorn? Peace to you, peace. Appreciate everybody. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to be serious. Oh man. Oh man. Let me see. I'll be trying to be professional. It don't be working. But it's genuine, it's authentic. All right? Be trying to come on here, it don't be working. It don't be working. But I just want to keep it real, I don't want to come to you as somebody who's above you, somebody who you got to look up to. It ain't about none of that. We are all human beings. We are all a part of the divine and the demonic. So that's really what it is. We are one. That's the whole thing. We are one. We merge minds. It becomes a collective. I can only speak the way I speak because we are one, right? It appears, excuse me, I'm just sipping on some tea. It appears as if I'm just this wise man. Yeah, I've read my books, I've had my experiences, sure. I'm not denying that. But what allows me to operate from my apex, from my higher self, is because I want to share and I want to give it, right? And when we merge, it allows it to come out, right? Because again, it's one thing just to be this wise person. Again, that doesn't make you a great speaker. That doesn't make you a great teacher just because you know things, just because you have knowledge. That don't mean you can teach. That don't mean you can heal. That don't mean you can perform miracles. When you are able to do these things, it's because the collective allows you to. What I mean by that, that's why Jesus or the Christ had 12 disciples. He didn't have the disciples because he just wanted motherfuckers following him because he's just a big dog and he just need people under him. That's not what that's about. That's why when he went amongst the people and he performed, again, metaphor, not saying literally, metaphorically. Did he ever go amongst, just think about this, for those who know the Bible, for those who know the story, the New Testament, for those who know, did the Christ ever teach to the people without the disciples being in his midst? Just ponder on that. Did Jesus, the Christ, Yahshua, whatever you want to call him, or it, the metaphor, the story, the myth, did he ever engage in any type of healing, any type of miracles outside of the presence of the 12 disciples? Or were they always there? This is what I'm trying to get you to understand. A difference of perspective. He was not who he was because he was by himself. See, there were certain tasks that he had to perform alone. But once he got to a certain level, now he had to share the energy. Now he had to divide, you could say, his spirit into 12 different forms. He had to divide himself. He had to split his consciousness into 12 different directions, 12 different zodiac signs, 12 constellations, so on and so forth. So when we look at miracles, oh shit, he can perform miracles. Oh shit, he just healed this person. He just fed the whole congregation and we only had one or two fish. When we hear about these stories, when we read about these stories, were they ever done outside of the midst of the disciples? Was any of the miracles of the Christ performed outside of the disciples? Or were they always in his midst? I know this ain't a question that you're going to the fucking pastor, the preacher, they're not even thinking in this fashion. 12 Iman, it's a following of 12 disciples. We call them the people who hold the knowledge of the book. So, I'm just bringing it to your attention that they were always there. They were always in the midst of these so-called miracles. They were all, why? It was them that empowered him because it was always a collective. That's why they call him the 13th degree, like the 13th sign, right? Ophiuchus, he was the Ophiuchus or the serpent bearer, but not by his own power necessarily. Because again, we don't hear any teachings of Jesus, Yahshua, doing any miraculous task before he became the 33rd degree. Because he died at 33, so that means all of these things were happening at the 33rd degree, the final degree of masonry. He was in his degrees of operational masonry. So it's just like this, for example. If you look at any performance on stage, let's just say you go see your favorite entertainer, for example, right? If you go see your favorite entertainer and they're performing on a stage, are they making all of that happen on their own? Now, of course, it's an amazing show. You see fire coming out the stage. You see smoke. The music is playing. It's all type of shit going on. We understand that it's a whole collective of people making that happen. It's not just the artist. It's not the entertainer. Yes, they're holding the microphone. They're giving the performance, but the performance would not be possible if it was just them. You need somebody controlling the sound. You need somebody controlling the lights. You need somebody controlling the special effects. You need somebody controlling the people from going too crazy. That's why you need security. There's many different people in place to make sure that the show goes according to plan. It's not just in the hands of one person, because it never was. So this is the point I'm trying to make, which then goes into what I'm originally speaking about the demons, the Djinn, the devils. The reason why our whole life we have been taught to fear demons or to not fuck with them, to keep them all the way over there to the side. We need to banish them, fuck them. They're no good. They cause curses and hexes. These are, witches and warlocks deal with demons. So if we're righteous, we don't need to be dealing with all that. Basically, we've been hating on them the entire time. Even a little kid doesn't want to fuck with demons and never seen a demon in their life. Because if you actually see demons, they don't look like what we think they look like, for one. That's the first thing. Like when we think about demons, the form of demons that we see is based on Christian ideology. So when we think about demons and we think about, let's like if we're talking about the 72 Goetia, for example, if you look at the imagery of the 72 Goetia, they all look like some crazy shit. The head of a dog, a human torso with some calf legs or some shit. It just looks like a combination of some crazy shit, right? This shit is anthropomorphic, you can say, right? But that's based on Christian ideology. That's based on Christian science, because they were the ones revealing that. That didn't come directly from the people. This is the point I'm making. That didn't come from the people that were actually putting that work in. The people that were actually putting the work in, you say working with demons, working with devils, working with jinn, that's not how they described them. They were not described the way we know demons to exist now, which they just look crazy. That's not how they were ever described. You want to know why? Because they probably look just like you. But when we make them to be monsters, fiends, when we make them other than themselves, the last thing we want to do is fuck with them. Because why would you want to fuck with a dog-headed beast with a human torso and calf legs? Why would you want to fuck with that? Versus, oh, these are my ancestors. These are the people that came before me. There was nothing animalistic about these people. However, we're not going to get that version of it because that takes out all of the superstition. Most demons, jinn, and devils, the stories and the mythology we hear about them is based on superstition. It is mostly superstitious. How do we know? Because people blame demons for every goddamn thing. Oh, you got demons in you. Oh, that's just the devil working. How many times have we heard that shit? Oh, the devil was working today. The fuck you mean the devil was working? Like he gives a fuck about you. Or she gives a fuck about you. You see, this is ego talking. We're just so fucking egotistical that we think demons and devils and jinn give a fucking, they don't give a single fuck about you, honestly. Right? Jinn are not in demons category for sure. That's what I'm saying. This is not what we think it is. This is mainly superstition. So when we hear about demons, oh, these are supposed to be low cardinal beings that they just want blood, they want gore, they want mischief, they're trying to tempt you. That's all we hear, right? It's not until we study the jinn that we realize, okay, jinn can be righteous or unrighteous. It's their personal choice. See, we don't learn that in Christian science now, do we? You got to study Islam to even get that game. Right? You got to study Islam. You got to read the Quran. Right? You have to read chapter 72 of the Quran. Al-Jinn. Yeah, I know the chapter. You got to read chapter 72. You think it's a coincidence? That's why I'm smiling. You think it's a coincidence that the jinn, there are 72 jinn, and what's up, Trinity 93? You think it's a coincidence that that is 72 jinn? And that just so happened to be the 72nd chapter of the Quran. That's titled Al-Jinn, the 72nd chapter of the Quran. It's titled Al-Jinn, which speaks about the jinn. You think it's a coincidence? But remember, these books are mathematical. These books are mathematical. It's not what you think it is. It's the public is looking at one thing, but the prophet is looking at something else. The prophet as in the one who knows, the one who can speak the truth beyond the veil. So essentially anybody can be a prophet. But not everybody is willing to do that because we are afraid. Remember, if you study the story of Prophet Muhammad, even he was influenced by the shaitan. That's where the satanic verses come from. See, this is where I'm getting at here. See, this is where I'm trying to go. Because if you read that story, if you're familiar, then you know exactly where I'm going with this. When the Prophet Muhammad was influenced by the shaitan, they were considered satanic verses. What was contained within those satanic verses? Oh, that's right. It just spoke about the three goddesses. Alat, Al-Uzza, right? And Manat, or Minat, M-A-N-A-T. You know, it's different ways to say it. The three goddesses, or the triple goddess. So just think about that. When the devil or the shaitan had an opportunity to possess the Prophet Muhammad, because Prophet Muhammad is the one who revealed the Quran, because he was being communicated with not by Allah, but by Jibreel, angel Jibreel. which is Gabriel, Angel Gabriel or Angel Jabril. So Angel Gabriel or Jabril is the one who revealed the Quran, and Prophet Muhammad was the messenger. Right? So basically, they call it the satanic verses because it mentioned the triple goddess. So Satan didn't possess the prophet. You just imagine. If Satan or the Shaitan was so wicked, evil, and sinister, when he had the opportunity or she had the opportunity to take over the prophet, why did they just mention the name of goddesses? They didn't say, okay, go kill, go rape, go pillage, go be unrighteous. You would think because that's what the devil does, right? They want you to kill, slaughter, and do all these crazy things, right? But that wasn't talked about at all. It didn't tell people to do anything other than acknowledge the triple goddess. Acknowledge them. They are the intercessors. Yes, you can pray to Allah, but you get to Allah through the triple goddess. Oh, you see, that's too much right there. That's why most Muslims they're not even gonna, well, they just push that story to the side as if it didn't happen. They try to ignore that shit. Just look on YouTube and look at them talking about the satanic verses. They just try to push that shit off like it just didn't happen. Like, oh, we don't even know if it's real. So that should let you know something right there. If devils, demons, and jinn were what we thought or what we think they are, then why, when they had the opportunity to really fuck some shit up, the only thing they did was to let you know about the triple goddess? Acknowledge her. The only other people that we see that did this is the Thuggies. The Thuggies. The Thuggies worshipped Kali, but they prayed to Allah. So the Thuggies, you could say, were Muslims. They prayed to Allah. They prayed 5 times a day, but they worshiped Kali. That's why there's a difference between prayer and worship. But you see, the average person doesn't know the difference because you only got one God. They don't know the difference between worship and prayer. But you see, this is an older science. But they call it or consider it satanic. So the only verses that mentioned the triple goddess, they were considered satanic. So who do you think Satan is? If satanic verses mention the triple goddess, then who do you think Satan is? If Satan had the opportunity to possess a prophet and can completely fuck some shit up, and they decided, whether he or she, to just get you to acknowledge the triple goddess, who was already in power before the prophet was even on the planet. Before Mecca became Islamic, they were worshiping the triple goddess. That's what the Kaaba was already in existence. Mecca was already in existence before the religion of Islam, not Islam as a way of life, because Islam is just mathematics. So we're just speaking about the religion of Islam, the traditionalism of Islam, Islam as we know it to be now. Just like, you got the early Christians, which is the Gnostics, which is different than the Christians of today's time. So if you look at the early practitioners of any religion, they're going to be completely different. So before they called themselves, you could say Jews, they called themselves Kabbalists. Just to give you some context. So what I'm trying to get you to understand here is, if demons, devils, and jinn are so wicked, sinister, and bad, and they just want carnage to happen in the planet, then why, when they had the opportunity to do so, when they had the opportunity to really destroy some shit, the only thing they did was remind you that the triple goddess still has power. Acknowledge her. That's it. It was just a couple verses. That's it. Acknowledge the triple goddess. Because she's already here, and she will remain here. She ain't going nowhere. We don't give a fuck what religion. So what, like, non-Muslims can't even enter into Mecca today. Like, if you're not a Muslim, you can't even go to Mecca right now. It's illegal. Like, if they find out you're not Muslim, you can be arrested and they're gonna put your ass out. You are not allowed in Mecca if you are not a Muslim in today's times. But before the religion of Islam, anybody can come to Mecca because Mecca had already been established as a place of peace. Islam didn't do that. It was the triple goddess that did that. I can get you there, no worries. Yeah, you funny, man. No, it's good though. I mean, I took my shahada, so I'm technically a Muslim. I'm technically, so like I can slide through there though. Like if we real, like I took my shahada when I was 15, so I'm technically a Muslim. So I'll be able to slide through there if I wanted to. Like when I prayed 5 times a day at one point. At one point, I was praying 5 times a day. I was a full-fledged Muslim, right? So I could actually slip through the cracks if I wanted to. But I'm just making this known that if devils, demons, and jinn were what we think they are, then when they had the opportunity to do something, they just decided to remind you of the triple goddess. That's all they wanted to do. They didn't say nothing about violence, nothing about bloodshed. The only thing they did was acknowledge the triple goddess. And then that bled into the thuggies with the worship of Kali. So if all demons, jinn, and devils wanted to do was for you to acknowledge the goddess in her 3 forms, that's all. And this turned out to be the satanic verses. Like, motherfuckers could not believe that we would ever acknowledge the goddess. Then, we get mad about toxic masculinity. Is that, if that is not the most toxic masculine idea in the history of the world, then you tell me what is. That they literally lose their goddamn balls because a woman was mentioned, a goddess was mentioned. They lose their top. This is the most satanic thing that could have ever happened, is to acknowledge the goddess. That was just so fucking satanic that they removed it from the Quran. It was removed from the Quran. It was just too much. I'm like, damn, so that means the most devilish thing you can do is worship the goddess? And this is facts. You can do your history. Just type the satanic verses. The story is there. This shit really happened. This is not, again, within the realm of mythology, if we believe the prophet exists, but many people do, right? So we can speculate about whether Jesus is real or whether Prophet Muhammad is real. But a lot of people think this shit is real, and people recorded these events. These events were recorded. So this was not a story. Somebody who actually was there recorded it. So this is not a story that was told. Somebody who was there and they witnessed it. They heard the words of the prophet and they recorded the words that came out of his mouth because they were there. They were there writing everything down. So this was not from somebody who heard it. This was from somebody that was there, documenting. That's just how real it is. Somebody was there. They heard it with their own ears. Exactly. That's the name right there, X24. Ya Ali. There you go. They was there when it happened. They witnessed it with their own eyes and heard it with their own ears, and they documented with their own pen, right? Who is she that needs to be acknowledged? I'm speaking about the triple goddess. I'm speaking about the satanic verses. I'm speaking about Alat, Al-Uzza, and Manat, the triple goddess. This is within the religion of Islam. Well, actually, it's not within the religion of Islam because they don't acknowledge it. So it's within the esoteric Sufism. So we just call it that. This is within the realm of Sufism. So I'm just bringing it to everybody's awareness here that the most satanic thing that you can do is to acknowledge the goddess. Because that's all Satan did when he took control of the prophet. When he possessed the prophet, the only thing he did, or she did, was to let you know the goddess is here and she ain't going nowhere. We don't know who the fuck you think you are. You trying to come here changing shit. Okay, let's see you change this. So even though mainstream Islam does not acknowledge the satanic verses, it still exists, it still happened. They don't have to acknowledge it. They can act like it didn't happen, but it actually did. We have the evidence, and it ain't going nowhere. So what does this tell you about demons, jinn, and devils? That's the only thing I'm trying to get you to think about. When they had the opportunity, because they knew this was the only time we have. It never happened again, as we see. It never happened again. So this was their only shot. It ain't like it happened 2, 3, 4, 5. It only happened one time. And they knew we only got one opportunity. So their only opportunity to get out the message was to remind people of the triple goddess. So that's what the shaitan did when he or she, or both, had the opportunity to make it known who and what they are. Acknowledge the triple goddess. So in modern times, when we think about demons, jinns, and devils, we think about the complete opposite. We think about spirits and dog-headed monsters that's influencing you to be unrighteous, that's influencing you to do shit out of your character. So you tell me where that comes. Like, how the fuck did that happen? How did we go from the triple goddess to now we're looking at dog-headed beast with wings and shit, all like this, like all type of crazy ass shit? What the fuck happened? Obviously there was some bullshit going on. Exactly. King Solomon's power came from the 72. Exactly. If you read the story of King Solomon, he was, if you, especially from the Quran, Suleiman. Suleiman. See, in the Quran, he's called Suleiman. If you read the story of Suleiman in the Quran, not the Bible, read it in the Quran. If you read the story of Suleiman, it says that Allah gave Suleiman the 72 jinn. So that was a gift directly from Allah. The so-called 72 Gowisha was a gift directly from Allah. So you tell me what the fuck is going on. That was a gift directly from Allah. So what the fuck are we doing here? So what we call demons, Allah or God gave these so-called demons to Suleiman to build his temple. So if they were so negative and bad, why would they be a gift directly from Allah himself? Allah himself gave the jinn to Suleiman. So you tell me what's really going on here. So if it was a gift directly from Allah to build the temple, a temple that was grander than any temple before it and after it, it can never be duplicated. And this is a gift directly from, that's why they say it can't be duplicated, because this was a gift directly from Allah. How the fuck are you going to duplicate that? You're not about to duplicate that with humans. You need spirits. So I wonder why they don't want you fucking with these spirits. You see where I'm going with this? And you wonder, like, okay, well, why don't they want the masses to fucking with the spirits? Well, hopefully it's making more sense now. So of course we're going to make these spirits look sinister. We're going to make these spirits look as crazy as we can, as somebody can imagine. So they're going to give you all this crazy imagery to keep you away from it. Because yeah, why would you want to work with a dog-headed beast that's speaking some type of language you don't understand? That's probably the last thing you're trying to do. But we make these things living. What do I mean? There's people who had dreams about demons. Is it that the demons are real, or did we create it? So could you have a dream about a demon and you didn't know it was a demon? Meaning, if we grew up in the church, if we grew up with any type of religious people or place or whatever, we know about demons, we know about jinn. But if you didn't know about demons, if you didn't know about devils, if you didn't know about jinn, devils, would you really have nightmares about them if you didn't know that they existed? And if you did, how would you even be able to identify it? But you see, that's what we do. Like, if you have a dream about some type of shadow being, you're going to automatically assume, oh shit, that's a demon. I had a dream about a demon. You see, we automatically go there as if demons have anything to do with that. It seems to me that demons are more feminine. They look like women. So when the shaitan was mentioning a lot, Al-Uzza and Manat, Was it speaking about dog-headed beast, or was it speaking about women? So it seems to me like the so-called demons that you're supposed to be afraid of, that's restricted, that's forbidden, it seems to me like they had the form of women. We hear no evidence of these energies looking so-called demonic. Seems to me like it's just goddesses. So if it's just goddesses, there was no mention of these ugly looking beasts. There's no mention of any of that. The shaitan didn't possess the prophet and turn him into a dog-headed beast. And I'm just using dog just as an example. It can be an eagle-headed, calf-legged, just some shit that, it's like my mind doesn't even move in that direction. Like trying to put that shit together. It doesn't even make any sense to me. If demons did exist, why would they even take these forms? Like, for what? What is that doing? So you're just trying to scare people? See, that would be something if you're just trying to scare people. You're taking these demonic-looking faces or these demonic-looking forms to scare people, but that's not what the fuck this is about. Why scare you if they're your fucking ancestors? Why do they want to scare you? You are a part of them. They are a part of you. Why the fuck they want to scare you? For what? For what? They are you. We are them. For what? So what's your opinion on Eve eating the apple? That's all Christianity. There was no apple in the Hebrew Bible. So that's a mistranslation. There was no apple. That's just the version of the Bible that we was introduced to, the English Bible. The English Bible says an apple. There was no apple. If you go to the Hebrew, the word for apple is a whole different word. It's a whole different story. So that's a fabrication. That's the English Bible, as we call it, the King James Version. There was no apple in the original story. That's why also in the original story it mentions Lilith. There is no mention of Lilith in the English Bible or the King James Bible. Like, Lilith didn't exist. There's no mention of Lilith. Just like so the original context, it mentions Lilith and there is no apple. There's no mention of an apple. So that's why I say it's all propaganda. Like, this shit is not real. There is no fucking apple. That's non-existent, but we believe it. We believe it. We take that shit. People believe in the Bible literally. People believe in that shit literally. And they revolve their whole lives around that Bible like that shit actually happened. Never reading the original context. I heard you can't dream of somebody you never met. If you think you have, it's just a combination of faces you've seen before in real life. You definitely can. You just got to be conscious. So you can say, like, unconsciously, maybe not. But if you wake up in your dreams and you begin to control your dreams, now shit can happen. For example, the reason people say that is because if something is not in your memory, you can't visualize it. If I ask you to visualize something you never seen before that's not in your memory banks, you can't visualize it. But it's not that it's not in your memory banks, you just don't have access to it. Your conscious mind doesn't have access to your full unconscious mind. The fullness of your unconscious mind goes beyond the conscious mind. So that's why when you dream awake, yeah, you can see people you never seen before. You can have experiences you never had before, but you have to be conscious while you dream in order to have those experiences. But if you are asleep, if you are not conscious, then yeah, you're just relying on your memory banks, a combination of your memory banks. But when you supersede that, then that's when you have more so, as they call, spiritual experiences, right? I was good at, exactly. You have to lucid dream. When you begin to lucid dream, now you can see shit you never seen before. Now you can do things so that's how people is able to extract wisdom from their dreams. People see artists, right? You have a lot of artists that see things in their dreams, and then it becomes, you could say, real because they put it into the earth. They put it into the world. So if an artist sees a picture in a dream and then they mimic that picture in real time, that ain't a picture that they've seen before. But it didn't exist in the physical plane until they made it exist. Exactly. Astral projection, lucid dreaming, higher, deep meditation. Even that's a weird combination. Higher, deeper meditation. But I understand what you're saying. So yeah, under normal circumstances, all you have is your memory banks, which is your living life. So if you've been on this planet for 50 years, you can say that's 50 years of data. But we know that we are infinite. We know that we reincarnate. We've been here who knows how long. So you can tap into your Akashic records. That's what it's really talking about, your Akashic records. Your Akashic records supersede your physical existence. So if you tap into your Akashic records, of course you're going to have access to information that you was not exposed to. You're going to see faces you've never seen before. You can have communications with prophets and all type of shit. But most people, again, they're not trying to do that because this is forbidden. You're not supposed to work with demons. So this is why most people don't dream. And if they dream, it's not lucid. Because it's like forbidden to astral project. How do I know? Because I be amongst people who like they're afraid to astral project. Like that's a little bit that's too much. That's a little bit too. They're too superstitious to even do it, to even practice it because they feel like it's wrong. I've been amongst these people. They're like, yo, it's wrong to do that. I'm not gonna be messing with no demons. They automatically assume that they're doing something sinister that's activating their own psychic abilities. Knowledge of the book Akashic Records is one of the main columns of it. So, of course, we're going to remain foolish to ourselves because all these demons are in the way. All these devils are in the way. All of these jinns are in the way. You got all these devils waiting for you to astral project. I know y'all heard the stories. People astral project and they see all type of strange shit. Like, oh shit, I saw a demon looking at me. Like I couldn't move, sleep paralysis. Exactly, right? This is what fuck people up, sleep paralysis. Like, oh shit, I woke up, I couldn't move, and I saw demons and so of course you had that type of experience. You ain't fucking with nothing. You don't know what the fuck's going on. I even know, like my first time astral projecting, I got so fucking afraid, I started fucking praying to Allah when I was still religious. So I understand. I'm like, that's exactly what I did when I was still religious. My body started floating up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I started praying. I started chanting the Fatiha, Al-Fatiha. That's what I like. I started praying Al-Fatiha. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I couldn't believe what was going on. I was thinking like everybody else, like, what the fuck? Fucking some demon is getting in me and I don't know what the fuck is going on. However, when I began to be more open about what's going on after I had more spiritual experiences, I'm like, oh, that's what that was. I'm like, oh, okay, I see what was going on. But you see, when I was ignorant, I did ignorant things. But when I became wise, I started to wise up. I'm like, oh, I see what's really going on. Let me not let superstition stand in the way of my evolution, especially my spiritual evolution, which is most people, they let their superstitions stand in the way of their spiritual evolution. So their superstitions of devils, jinns, and demons keep them out of the Akashic records. Keep them away from astral projection. Keep them away from lucid dreaming because they get superstitious. They wake up in a dream like, oh shit, I'm awake. Then a demon busted the door, then they wake up. How many people is going to be lucid dreaming when they had that type of experience? The thing is, you must face your demons, your devils, your superstitions. And that's where it happens in the dream world. That's where you have to face your superstitions. So that's why if you have a dream about a demon or something, that's you facing your superstition, and either you're going to fail or succeed. So either that's going to reaffirm for you why you don't need to be messing with magic and demonic energy. That's going to keep you further away from it, or it's going to help you to go deeper. Like, oh, that happened because that's a superstition. That's something I got to work on. Like, oh, I still think demons are evil. So if they come up and they try to attack me or harm me, that's because of my own superstition. That's not because they're demonic or evil. That like I'm magnetizing my own bullshit, or I'm projecting my own superstitions. We need to share the knowledge of protection in these dimensions. Well, the greatest protection you can have is not being superstitious, because that's what draws that energy to you in the first place. What magnetizes these energies to us is our own superstitions, and then they become living, because that's just how powerful the mind is. So if we think demons exist, and you have a lucid dream and you see a demon, it's because that's the power of the mind. That's not because demons actually give a fuck about you. They don't. Because again, if demons are your ancestors, these are people that were here before you, that still exist in the spirit world. They're not thinking about your goddamn superstition. That's just, your ancestors will appear to you as demons because we are so far below the heavenly planes. Basically, angels will appear as shadows because this is the lowest form of existence. So that's what people don't understand. We can't even comprehend divine light. Divine light to us seems like shadows, aka demons. You wouldn't even know that, damn, this is really an angel, but to me, it's a demon. But it's not that it's an actual demon. It's just shadow light. I can only comprehend shadows until you develop your spirituality. Then you can perceive higher forms of light. Then you realize, damn, what I thought was demons and shadow beings was actually angels, but I couldn't perceive it as such until I was able to travel up the spheres, the worlds. That's all that's really occurring, but they're not going to tell you that. What you're really perceiving as shadow beings and shadow light is really something higher. It's just that that's all we can perceive until we do the work. Until you do the work, you can't even perceive divinity. You can't even perceive divinity. That's why most people don't know God, the so-called God, right? Or people think they know God, but you see it really causes confusion. That's why I don't even like using that word. So many people that claim that they know God, they're really fucking confused, and they cause confusion. It's just that simple. Like I don't even fuck with people who like this God. I'm like, confusion. That's all they bring is like those type of people who just extra God out. God is everything. Just when you really analyze this shit, like, oh, these motherfuckers are just causing confusion. Meaning they feel like they can do no wrong. People that so-called talk to God and like, oh, I'm a messenger, or I'm a prophet, I'm a soldier of God. It's like, all right, you can do no wrong, huh? That's the energy that they project. Just go to church and look at them. Go to church. Go to any goddamn church. Motherfuckers is like they're beyond. They can do no wrong because they have this personal connection with God. I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever. I'm just looking at it like, So you're just above a sin, huh? You're just a sinless being. They're not, of course they're gonna say no, nobody's above that. So like, how the fuck do you know God then? But again, God represents confusion. But I know that because we all know that. We may not want to admit it, but you know that's true. The people that's supposed to be the closest to God actually are the most confused. It's just that simple. It's really just that simple. Why? Because they're still superstitious. They're still superstitious. So they are the most confused amongst us. Meaning you're so divine that anything demonic still scares you. You still gotta banish demons and all that. But if you close to God, it's like, why do they even want to be around you? If your divine light is so spectacular, why do they even want to be around you? What's up, Tassetti? You see how that works? If you're so close to God, then why do demons give a fuck about you? They shouldn't even be able to be in your presence to the point where you would have to banish anything if you can truly perceive divine light. But somehow, why are we always hearing about negative shit when we go to church? the temple, the mosque, the synagogue. So I don't want to just like church is the only place, any of these goddamn places. When is the last time you ever been to a church service, a masjid, a temple, a synagogue, and they didn't talk about negative shit? They didn't talk about how much we are sinners. You see, this is like porn. I'm just going to say it. This shit is like porn. What do I mean by that? Meaning, if I go to church every time and I get chastised about how I'm a fucking sinner and how I need to what do they call it? I need to redeem myself. I need to join the church. Like, this shit is like porn. I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to feel bad about myself. And the only solution is I need to develop a connection with God. Because I am fucked up. I'm a sinner and I was born a sinner and I'm gonna die a sinner. And the only way to be righteous is to perceive God. This is what we're told. But I'm like, okay, so every Sunday, every Friday, every Saturday, I gotta be reminded of this shit. I gotta be reminded about devils, demons, jinn. I gotta be reminded about how fucked up the world is. I gotta be reminded how much of a sinner I am. It seems to me like they're playing on, you can say, this is basically dark psychology. Just call it what it is. This is dark psychology. They are playing on negative emotions. They are playing on our negative emotions. Meaning, what I mean is this. YouTube is famous for this. YouTube is famous for this. What do I mean? Why do you think people make cringe content? Why do you think people make cringe content? What do I mean by cringe? Meaning, why do you see people on here literally saying the most ridiculous shit out their mouth? Just think about it. Why do people go above and beyond to be extremist? People are looking for the most extreme thing to say. Again, just look at it. Just go to a channel, go to a woman's channel who talks bad about men, or go to a man's channel that talks bad about women. And they just find the most disgusting things to say about other human beings. They do it on purpose because it's going to make you feel some type of way. If you go to a woman's channel and she say all men are dogs, all men can't be trusted, and we know they exist. There's some women that really you should not trust any man. They're all scum. It's some women that actually feel like that. So when you hear that as a man, you're like, damn, like, okay. That's not going to make you feel good. Like, oh, you're just saying that just to get under my skin. That's what people do. Like, they want to say things to get under your skin. We call these people toxic. These are toxic people. What makes them toxic is they're literally trying to play on your darker emotions. They want you to hate them. They want you to make negative comments. They want you to blow them up with that negative energy. Why do you think so many people want to expose everybody? Just look at just type in exposed right now. Go to YouTube right now. I guess you're already on YouTube. Type in exposed. Look at all the content of somebody exposing somebody or something. It's all about exposure. We're just so ready and willing to expose people. Right? Why? Because we're trying to play on the dark psychology of the people. That's what we're doing. Just like if you go to a man's channel and he say, well, bitches ain't shit, you don't need to trust them. That's going to make a woman feel like, damn, all women ain't shit. I can understand, okay, well, some are on bullshit, but all? But you see, people use extreme language to get under people's skin. They do it on purpose. Why? Because it gets clicks, it gets views. How do I know? Because you see, all I'm doing is speaking positive. However, you see, I'm not getting 1 million views. Well, I got like 1 million views in total. But you see, it took me 1,000 fucking videos. But look at all the negativity out here, though. Let me start making videos exposing people, putting other people's name in my title. and watch me get thousands of views. But it's like, I'm not going to do that because I'm like, it's just not in me to do it. It's not in me to just criticize people. It's like their personal lives too. So we ain't even talking about their public life. We're talking about their personal life. This shit is disgusting me. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I'm not about to spend my time chastising somebody's personal life. Like, I know these people, and I really don't know these people. I couldn't do it, which is why I don't do it. It's like, it don't sit well with me. I'm like, yo, who the fuck do I need to expose? Like, I care that much about people I don't know. I don't care that much about people I never met and I don't know. That's why you see it's been almost 10 years, and you will rarely find anybody's name in my titles, if ever. I don't put other people's name in my titles at all. Now, I may speak about people, but it's never their name, to the point where people were specifically clicking on my videos to see what the fuck I got to say about somebody else. That's never been the case. But that's a big hit on YouTube, right? Or Facebook, Instagram. What it's like, I see more negativity than positivity all day. That's dark psychology. Why? Because again, it blows people up. We see it happening all the time. It's everywhere. Because you can say it just doesn't pay to be positive. So that's why we have people, they just prefer to be negative. Why? Meaning, they will rather crack jokes and roast people. Like, this is what they call, this is their language. They rather roast people and crack jokes than just, be authentic. But again, because if they be authentic, they're not going to get any views. So it's like, what are they going to do, right? What's up, G-Dash? So, meaning I know this better than most people because I've been on YouTube pretty much the entire time. Ever since YouTube existed, I've been creating content. YouTube was created in 2005. I've been uploading content since 2007. So I've seen it. I've seen the whole history of YouTube. I've seen it change. I witnessed it, and I've been a part of it. So like, I know this better than most people. So before people even gave a fuck about uploading videos on YouTube, I was already doing it. Before it became popular, before it became hot, I was already there. I was a teenager doing this shit. So I've seen it. Like, I've seen it evolve. Again, before people were getting paid, before videos were being monetized, before all that. Like, I remember when YouTube used to have stars. You can rate videos with stars. Before you had a like button and a dislike button, you had stars. That's how people will rate videos. It was between 1 and 5 stars. Like, if you've been on YouTube long enough, you remember that. Like, it used to be stars before it was a like and dislike button. But that's just how far we've come. So again, I don't want to go too far off on the deep end with that. I'm just using these things as an example of, we would say, oh, well, those people are filled with demons because all they do is talk negative and they want to expose. Now, those people, no, they're not filled with demons. They just play on your psychology. There's nothing demonic about that. Stop blaming demons. Stop blaming Djinn. Stop blaming devils. Stop it. Just accept that this is dark psychology. We don't need to push it off on invisible entities when it's strictly emotional. Hurt people. It's strictly emotional. It has nothing to do with no invisible forces. If somebody hurt your fucking feelings, then you're going to try to hurt their feelings back. That has nothing to do with a fucking demon. That's why I'm saying, like, this shit is just dark psychology. It just play on your darker emotions. That's all it is. It don't have nothing to do with no invisible energies trying to influence nothing at all. But it's easy to blame invisible forces than to acknowledge this is just human behavior. Humans are the scum of the earth. Fuck a demon, fuck a devil, fuck a Djinn. The scum of the earth is human beings who are expressing their darker nature. I choose to not be offended because we understand you don't have to. You do not have to respond to anybody's negativity. And the people that do respond, it's because they're already feeling some type of weight in their heart. So I mean, like, if a woman said, well, all, like, don't trust no niggas, it doesn't offend me because I'm like, I still got love for you. You know, like, it doesn't change anything. So if I see anybody like that, I'm like, oh, well, she's just hurt, or he's just hurt. That's not going to make me feel differently. Oh, that's why I shouldn't be dealing with this. That, like, it don't. I don't go like, I still got love for you because I understand what's really going on here. I'm like, I'm not going to take that on. Now I'm leaving you negativity as if that's going to help. It's not. Now I'm engaging back and forth with you as if that's doing something. It's not. It doesn't change a goddamn thing. That's what shadow work is about. Shadow work is understanding what you see as demonic is really angelic. That's really what shadow work ain't about healing. Oh, I need to heal some past trauma. Fuck your past trauma. Fuck anybody who hurted you. Like, we do not have to even deal with that at all. Your true shadow work is understanding shadows are divine light that you can't perceive yet. You perceive it as hurt and pain, but that's not really what it is at all. That's not what it is at all. That's just what it appears to be. But remember, this is a holographic universe. Don't take anything on face value. Why would you take anything on face value in a holographic universe? We should know better. So do you have people out here just on, I'm not even going to call it demon time because they're not on demon time. I'm not about to blame demons because, again, somebody's in their feelings about something. That don't have nothing to do with demons. People are not on demon time at all. Just because people are violent, killing each other, dissing people and all that, that don't have shit to do with demons at all. At all. That's superstition. We just want to blame something else instead of blaming ourselves. Like, damn, that's just some human shit. That's just, we are in a flawed world. That's narcissism. We are in a flawed world. Don't expect perfection from humans. That ain't because of no fucking demon. We are in a flawed world. That's what the demiurge is all about. The demiurge created this matrix, and the demiurge is flawed. That don't have nothing to do with a fucking demon. This is just the nature of this world. That's just, you have to go against that nature, essentially, to develop your divinity. That's what a Gnostic is. Gnosticism is all about going against the grain, going against the matrix. That's the whole science of Gnosticism. That's the whole science right there, just summarized. Nobody's speaking about no goddamn demons or jinns. You're not going to find none of that in Gnosticism. They're speaking about demons and jinns and devils like that. They're responsible for why this world is fucked up. No, they're not. No, they're not. They got, again, if you know about Djinn, they already have their own lives separate than yours. That's all you got to know. Jinn have a separate reality, a separate realm for themselves. It is in the Quran. They get married like you do. They have children like you do. They have a whole separate reality. They have their own world like we have our own world. That's why it's forbidden to work with the jinn, because you open up portals for them to cross over. They have their own. They don't need to fuck with you. They don't care about you. Why? They got their own world, just like you don't care about them, unless you're superstitious. They're off doing their own thing without human intervention. So the fact that we blame demons for every goddamn thing, do you think they're blaming us? They're in their own reality. Do you think, damn, oh, it's you on human time right now? Do you think they blame us for whatever mishaps they have? You think, oh, you're trying to act human. You really think that we're responsible for their bullshit? Whatever bullshit they may have, do you think we are responsible for that? So if you would not claim responsibility for their bullshit, why would you claim them? Why would you say that they're responsible for yours? Like they don't got their own problems, like they ain't got their own family, like they ain't doing their own thing. They don't need to interfere with your happenings at all. It's not like we're fighting for the same space. We are not fighting for the same space. We have our space, they have theirs. Everybody's fine. But we want to mix and mingle and then blame them when it's really just us. How do I try my subconscious mind for good? Well, you have to get over good and bad for one. That's the whole point of me making the video. You got to go beyond good and bad because it don't exist. Meaning what you perceive as bad is not bad. What you perceive as good is not good. How do we know that? Because that's why they say good people die young. Why do they say that? Why do they say good people die young? Because if we're so good, that should actually preserve your life. If positivity is supposed to preserve your life, why do positive people die? If this world is about being positive, putting the guns down, right? We want to be there for our families. We want to be constructive, productive human beings. Well, those people still get fucked over too. The most positive people still end up with gunshots and all type of shit happening to them. So what does that tell you? Good people have fucked up shit. But again, if it's about karma, why do good people have bad things happen if the purpose is to be good? So that bad things don't happen to you. Well, why do bad things still happen to good people if the goal is to be bad? Well, if the goal is to be good. If the goal is to be positive, if the goal is to be good, then why do fucked up shit still happen to these people? A motherfucker can go to church every goddamn Sunday. Does that stop negativity from entering into their lives? They can think about Jesus all day, pray every night. Does that stop negativity from entering into their lives? No. So you tell me what's good and what's bad, because I can be the most positive person on the planet. Is that going to stop negativity from entering into my life? No. I can be the most negative person. Even the most negative person still has positive energy in their midst. Just think about that. Even the most negative person still has positivity in their midst. Just look at jail. What do I mean? Like, for people that's locked up, they're supposed to be the worst of the worst, right? But they still are allowed to be amongst each other. You think they hate each other? Meaning they still can get in a circle and crack jokes and laugh and have a good ass time. Yeah, they're in jail, but does that mean that they're not entitled to have laughter? Are they not entitled to have a good meal? Are they not entitled to be human beings? They still are human beings and they still have a life. They still have a life. Just because they're in jail don't mean that they're not entitled to positivity. They can still go to church. They can still go to the masjid. They can still educate themselves if they decide to do so. They can still work a job and get paid if they decide to do so. I think they force you to get a job, but either way, they still are entitled to basic necessities like everybody else. They still have commissary like everybody else. So, and these are supposed to be the worst people on the planet. You would think, well, the worst people on the planet, they shouldn't be entitled to anything, just kill them off. But you see, that's not the solution now, is it? So I think y'all get my point. We've been on here an hour. We got way more titles to cover. So 93, 93, 93.